tonight. We are set. I would like to call to order the February 6, 2025 meeting of the Historic District Commission. First item is roll call. Sarah, would you help us with that?
Here.
Gardner.
Here.
Lincoln.
Here.
Patterson.
Here.
And Straker.
Here. We have a quorum. Thank you. Are there any changes to the agenda? Any additions or deletions? No. Has everyone had a chance to read the minutes of the meeting held on January 2nd, 2025? And if so, do I have a motion to approve those?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Okay. Are there any public comments on any of the agenda items tonight? Okay. No unfinished business? No. New business. We have 4 items on our agenda tonight. The first is 40 Butler Street, which is a fence replacement for Singapore Yacht Club. So we've all taken a look at the application, got the photos and everything. Is there anything, and if you want to come up, is there anything you want to add to what's already on the application? And just introduce yourself.
There's not much to add. I do have samples of the headrail and the footrail. I also have a sample of the synthetic fence material that we would like to have as our first choice. I also have a sample of the cedar wood inserts that is the second choice. If you'd like to look at it, if you need to, I don't know what your thoughts are. I also have, there are some different colorations in those. I don't have the full packet of what those are available. But I'll entertain some questions. I'm kind of filling in for Kevin.
Okay.
He's in Mexico.
And just say your name.
Stephen Borma, sorry.
Thank you. That's okay. Just needed that for the record. Megan, do you want to start with you on this end? Do you have any clarifying questions or comments?
I would love to see the materials.
Sure. So I'll just bring it over.
Hey, Sarah, can you pop the photos up?
So obviously it's just cedar, pretty straightforward. It's on range only. So headrail and foot. And this is the synthetic material that we are hoping to get, but and it would fit in. So we're doing it. Vertical installation is what we're looking to do.
Pass it around.
So similar to what is there now, but in a, and there are 4 colorations of that. That is one choice.
Okay.
Do you want me to pass this?
It's all powder coated steel.
That's real cedar, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You don't have the synthetic?
It's right here.
The synthetic is right there
Okay.
in it. And then the cedar would have to obviously be either stained or painted. The downside of the cedar is, like the sample, is that it's arcing already. And the fence headrail and footrail are made to accept a 1-inch gauge product, which is the synthetic. The cedar is only available in 3/4 inch. So, but
You mentioned in your text that the height of the fence would stay the same.
correct.
There's a variation in height in the
Correct.
photos.
Mhm.
Will it just match?
Match
heights?
that following as it is.
Okay. Anything else? Russ?
Yeah, thank you. Good evening. Thanks for being here. Tell Kevin Russ Gardner says hello when you talk with him.
Okay.
I've known Kevin since he was this big. So.
Yep.
And I was that big too. So the space, do we have any idea how old this fence is? Any idea?
I believe it was installed in the mid-80s when the parking lot was raised and Cook Park was raised and the boardwalk was brought to the current level, which would have been, I believe, like 83,
Okay,
maybe 84. And that is the date of that, I believe, all of that construction.
got it. Because if I remember right, before that, there was a chain link.
I
that
believe you
sound
are
about
right.
right?
Before
Yeah.
that, there was no fence.
Yeah, right?
Because they used to have the Miss Saugatuck pageant around the pool.
Yeah, so, So the space that's underneath the fence, the renderings that we've seen is it's gonna go all the way to the ground. Is that correct? Or gonna leave?
Very
space for the
close.
water?
I mean, within what is, tolerance for, I believe, code, I mean, it's not going to be touching the ground. So I think that variance is somewhere in the neighborhood between 3 and 5 inches. I don't know. I don't have the specifics on that. We could find out for you.
Yeah, I'm just curious because I think, and I suspect the way it was built is it was meant to allow water to flow underneath it.
The current iteration?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so. Or just because, in the mid-80s, that's how they built them. I don't know.
Yeah. So, yeah, the only comment I would have is I would like to see this be as close in appearance as to what you currently have, and that would probably mean a cedar, as opposed to the composite. I mean, from a historic standpoint, there's really truly nothing historic about it. I mean, for that matter, I guess if you want to put it
I
that way,
mean-
but in order to maintain the view and the look on the waterfront, I think it would be important. My personal opinion is, I have no issue with the replacement. I think that's a great idea. It's just, I would like to see it be close to what's currently there in terms of material, which is wood.
Okay.
So.
Thank you, Russ. Keith?
The gate, regardless of which one you do, the gate that you have for entrance and is that gonna be just a flat, like an extension as if it were?
Correct, similar to it as it is now.
Okay, I think those ones
Same-
have like a cross hatch on them or something.
That is for bracing simply
Yeah.
because over time they've sagged with the new materials being steel.
Mhm.
We're not anticipating needing that. That is simply because of the realities of life and gravity.
Sure. And, on the pump house stays the same and then
Correct.
the guard shack stays the same.
Correct.
That's not on the table.
So it's
for
just be
this.
tying into those as it is now.
Right, okay. That's all I got.
Thank you. John?
Sir, could you put up slide 14, please? Oh, okay, yeah. Can you go a little closer?
Yeah.
So what I love about what you guys are proposing is that this corresponds to the railing on the new upper level. And it looks, even though it's probably not exactly the same size, it has the same feel.
Correct.
So, if you could go to slide 19. No, the next one up, again, 19, there. That one,
This one?
the lighter one, the one with that little guy. Well, I don't know what's wrong with that one.
No, it's hard to see that one.
Anyway, so when you look at that one compared to the previous one where we looked at the upper railing.
Correct. That's a knotty cedar I think you're looking at there.
Yeah, but I'm looking more at the relationship to the wood on the new Butler addition. Which is
Okay.
lighter, but not knotty. It's somewhat knotty, but it's more like, if you don't look at the side of this fence right here and you look at the
Okay.
front of it,
Okay,
it looks more like this sample here,
okay.
which is a clear cedar. pretty
Yep.
Clear, and you could put a clear coat on that. Or just leave it and let it gray. I don't know if this is coated on the Butler, but my point is I'm trying to see the relationships to
Yeah.
things and it's a little
So I will
disjointed.
say that in our conversations with the Butler, because it is their property, we are just a leaseholder.
Yeah,
Their preference was first and foremost the synthetic. The second was if we did wood to be, if they had their choice, they would have it finished to match the coloration of the current Butler deck. Now,
where's,
that coloration.
color,
But
that's
that
what
is, that is, I believe that is cement siding, not cedar.
that's not cedar, that's not wood.
No,
Okay.
that's not real wood. I believe
Okay.
that is like a Hardy Backer, cement siding.
But this cedar sample looks like that,
Similar, yes.
similar, more similar than this or way more than
Yeah,
what you have
so,
there
so there
now.
is a coloration that if you, made the decision to stay with, I'll say, the darker tone of the current fence, there's a coloration, I can show it to you, but it's not the actual product, it's the coloration only. So it's a darker color, but a different product in a synthetic. If we wanted to stay with that, I'll say that color iteration around the pool that's currently. That's why those are labeled as first choice, second choice. The second choice, as far as the our landlord is concerned is they would like to see, or they requested that if we went with natural wood, that it be finished the similar to the new structure, which is the Butler deck. Does that make sense? Am I explaining it
makes
clear?
sense.
So
That, but I don't know,
just to be clear, we have nothing to do with color.
Yeah.
okay.
But I'm
Sorry.
looking at
Okay.
the architecture and the whole look of it.
Right, but
Um,
this is,
Makes sense that the vertical being on the same plane would match versus you doing horizontal.
right, but they could paint the new Butler.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why this is,
Okay.
I agree with I agree with both your points aesthetically, but it's your call on what
Okay.
color it is.
And,
But the materiality of whether or
Correct.
not it's real wood versus
Correct.
synthetic is in our,
Correct.
Yeah.
So I, just full disclosure, I also wanted to mention that Kevin, for the rest of the commissioners, Kevin, who's on the application, did call me and ask for clarification on guidelines at the very beginning of this project. And I gave him the history of the new Butler building when this commission heard that. I don't remember who was on the commission when that happened. And the relationship between the railings and the Butler railing that's on the front, that's shown in one of the photos in the materiality. So,
of the window.
well,
Yeah.
that's it right there.
yeah. No, the one up to the,
Are you talking about the original Butler building?
yeah, the
Old
original
building?
Butler building.
Correct.
yeah.
That is,
Which is a wood vertical.
Right.
just look out the
Right.
window, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So anyway, I pointed him towards that and the need for usually natural materials for fencing in particular. So I just wanted to mention that. Just for context, when we did approve the new Butler, we had a conversation about Singapore's fence. And that also guided the height and the materiality guided what they did on
Okay.
their fence.
Okay.
Because we didn't want anything that would compete too much with each other.
Mhm.
Given it was like basically one property. So I guess all of those things, and then I'll just reiterate for me then as one voice, one commissioner voice, I do think it's important to tie in. I think I agree with your point about the top railing and how that.
That was my
fits.
point, yeah, as much
Um,
as it can tie in.
I think we would have a hard time approving anything but wood, especially since there's wood there now.
Okay.
It's a like as thing and we just have not approved plastic
I understand.
fencing or synthetic fencing, which is different than cement board siding. Because we do
Okay.
approve hardy board and things like that,
Mhm.
if it's non-stamped. So the fact that that sort of has the appearance of wood but isn't, it doesn't meet our guidelines. So I would have a hard time not. I'm fine with the height, everything that
Yeah, the
you've,
look,
yeah, I think it's going to be a huge improvement to what's there. Probably gives you the privacy you're looking for and just upgrade you're looking for, but I would vote for wood.
your challenge is that that's a 1/4 inch too thin for this track. Is there a solution to that?
Shims.
James?
I mean, that's what we're being told from the manufacturer is shims. If you don't use shims, you get rattling from the wind, inside the channel.
I mean, this is such an improvement, just to
Yeah.
frame it.
Agreed.
It's
Well, and it
really-
also make it less, it's gonna be a lot sleeker, if you will.
Yeah,
I mean,
With all fences, there's a neighbor side and a resident side, and this is the same on both sides, which is
Correct.
also really respectful. So.
see that.
Sorry. But I think you guys take what you've heard with us in terms of the color that you make it, think about maintenance and whatever is your choice.
okay,
But I mean, I don't disagree with what others are saying about the color, but just know that that's your choice.
I understand. Thank you.
Does anyone else have questions or comments? Someone like to make a motion?
Sure, I'll do it. I move to approve the fence replacement project at 40 Butler Street in accordance with the plans and details submitted within the application materials. Approval shall be subject to the following condition. This is second choice, which is the natural cedar.
Correct.
So that would be the condition, correct?
Second,
Second.
any discussion on that?
Not on the motion, but as I'm looking again at the pictures here, so the rails that are below I can't tell if those are ties or rail, or whatever, the
Mm.
probably 8x8s. Those are not being replaced, right? You're putting the fence on.
The, what I'll call the railroad ties?
Yeah,
No, they are not being replaced. The fence would, no.
Anything else?
thank you.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes, opposed? Great. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for coming in today.
I was. See you, Elizabeth. Bye.
Hey, guys.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Have a Good night.
115 Butler Street. I don't think we have an applicant here. Anybody on phone? No. So this applicant, I believe, thought this was a staff approval because it was a leak and it was an emergency repair. So I think that's why he wasn't here. I asked him he asked me today, he texted me and said, am I supposed to be there tonight? I thought it was a staff approval. I said, I think we have everything we need, but I did ask him for an exterior photo.
Yes.
So we could compare that to the spec. It is a like as replacement. And
we
it
have
was a emergency leak replacement. So Sarah can pop up the image for us.
Okay, this is the bay window. I drove by and I thought that must be what it is.
We can probably see it from here.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, we can. There it is.
Well,
Do you want to start? I mean, we can't ask him any questions, but is there
but he's
anything?
replacing like for like.
So my only question was there's that, I don't know if it's what material the window itself is, but it's black and what's on here is white. I don't know if that matters.
He said it was vinyl is what he's replacing like for like. And I couldn't get close enough to see that to verify it, but. And I don't think the new windows, I don't believe have been installed, but I know it's a significant leak and he was ordering it
It
as
does
soon as
say,
possible.
yeah, sorry. It does say in the project description, no change in the appearance of the window or structure of building. So I would assume that means.
Black.
Well, it says white on the,
Yeah, I understand what you're asking. I'm going on what the applicant,
We can just put that in the motion.
yeah.
That it has to be black. I mean,
Well-
if we're worried about it.
I don't know why we would worry about.
I'm not worried about it.
Yeah,
I
you're
just
just,
didn't
and
know.
again, consistency.
Yeah.
Because color, I mean, they
Yeah.
could paint it.
I mean, it's like for like, that's what you asked my
Right.
comment, that's my comment. No other comments.
No questions.
Anybody else have anything? Or I don't want to force it through. We can table it till next month, but it seems, I know they have a leak, so I want to be respectful of that.
If it shows up white, is anyone gonna even notice the difference?
No.
The
Black.
way that it is matches the storefront below. I think that's why it's like that, but
Okay, I mean, they can paint it too. I don't know. I agree with that matching, but we don't
yeah, I'm
do
not.
anything with color on any other thing.
I'm not-
anyway. Yeah. Somebody want to make a motion on it?
Who wrote the end of the recommendation? It says require consistent dark color trim. Is that, am I in the right one?
There was a question mark.
Yeah, question mark.
Mm.
Yeah, whether that,
It's already on the motion.
just as a, is that something to consider?
Oh, yeah, we could strike that for sure. I'll try it.
Okay.
I move to approve the proposed window replacement at 115 Butler Street in accordance with the details submitted within the application materials. Approval is, we're not putting any following conditions on, is that correct? And just strike that number one that says require consistent dark color trim, because that's not on the list of things to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second?
You, any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes, opposed? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, applicant. You're welcome, commission. 234 Butler Street. Come on up and introduce yourself and
My name is Steve Walters. I'm here on behalf of the Glick family. So we had, right before Christmas, we had a, customer that tripped and went into the glass with her hands and shoved them through the window.
Hmm.
So it's all single pane. It's not tempered. Fortunately, she had a heavy coat on. She didn't get hurt.
Oh, good.
We would like to replace that because we've worked on it for the past 3 or 4 years. It's, from what we can tell by the stamping on it, it's like a 1978 door. We've tried fixing the jams and it's still sagging. So we'd like to replace the door. I went around town, kind of looked, not knowing what you guys would want. We want it to match with everything else downtown. And I've seen some commercial doors, like the metal aluminum style. Our preferred would probably be a fiberglass stamped wood, so it looks like a real wood door with a raised grain. Right now, it's just a metal flush, smooth door. And to try to stick with the historical side of it, we'd like it to look like a real door, but not having to take care of a real wood door. So we can get it through Therma-Tru, where it actually has a heavy stamp on it. So when you're looking at it, it looks like real wood. And we can get that stained, painted. If you guys have a preference, we'll do it. And then the aluminum one, more the commercial style that we had, we can get them in colors or wood grain, but to me, they look more commercial, like more modern versus what, maybe that heavy panel looks with the glass and the separation of the lights. So
Okay,
we'll lean toward what you guys prefer. We'd like to get it replaced more than anything, just for safety, and we'd get insulated glass in it and it would be tempered, so.
do you guys care if I open this one?
Go ahead.
Go for it.
Because we've talked about these
Right.
types of things a lot. So I think on your fiberglass spec page.
Yep.
Simulated divided light, awesome. The general form of light versus raised panel, great.
Yep.
The stamped fiberglass isn't something that we would approve.
Okay,
In fact, we just had one a couple months ago,
right.
almost the identical opening, and asked for that, and we approved wood.
okay.
So a wood door, exactly the way you're proposing.
But if it was metal flush like it's existing now, or would you rather have it go back like to real wood?
Well, that's real wood there, right?
No,
Those cross panels are not wood?
those are,
Yeah.
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
those are,
So yeah, just wood doors inset into that opening
okay,
is what feels most according to our guidelines in terms of, we never approve anything that's fake stamped
Okay.
anything, even
Right.
if it's hardy board or a synthetic material, it always has to be smooth because we don't want the appearance of fake history.
okay,
So that's why like a real door doesn't have to be mahogany. It can be whatever, wood you want.
okay,
I know you put mahogany stained in here. But now I'll go to one person's opinion, which is, I think that's more successful than the retail doors. The retail doors, losing the transom to really messes up the charm for me. This is a non-contributing building. However, those doors from the 70s are pretty charming on that streetscape. So what you're proposing in this versus the retail fixtures continues that charm for me. So send it around to whoever.
Yeah, I'll just kind of, the only question I had, I agree with everything that you're saying. The only one is, are divided lights a must? Would it be something that we would recommend, or can we live without it? Because I look at the front of that and the door that's being proposed. It could go either way.
In my mind, it was like there's already divided light. So
Okay.
you're asking to replace it with divided light. It may not be the same, but it's, that's just
Got
the
it.
way I saw it.
I'll go next. I disagree. I think that looks completely residential. And I think the proposed one even looks more residential. It's like the front door of any house you'd see driving down any street around here. So I would opt, I think, do we have any pictures further back? I drove by, I didn't look up, I looked at the doors. But your aluminum door would be the same height as the windows, eliminating the transom. It's like this clean storefront to me. The brick is charming. I think there's still charm. But I don't know that I agree that these have to be a wood door, with divided light especially. I just don't see the connection to a retail, facade. So I like your aluminum option better.
Now, we can do the aluminum, I can keep that transom and just do the doors in aluminum below.
That's okay.
That's an option.
Yeah.
If you guys would prefer that.
I mean, that's just my opinion. We'll hear everybody and then talk about it some more, but that's my first thought. That's my only comment.
Yeah, thank you. I like the transom. I think that is longstanding to the building. So prior to this, most of you probably know this was Oosting's warehouse slash storage area and had a showroom in the front. I'm trying to remember the doors that Bob had there, and I don't recall those particular doors being the entrance.
Yeah, they
doors.
were there.
Were they? Okay,
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
because I worked
So-
on the store for Bob.
You did,
Yeah.
okay, all right, so, to the point, so where I'm thinking is that next door, not next door, there's the old post office shop, or what used to be the old post office shop, Jim Brandis. Next to that, there's a gallery, and there's two windows in the front of the gallery. If you ever go drive by, you'll see one has divided lights and the other one does not. Back in the day when I was in the Historic District Commission, that came up for replacement, and there was a hard fought argument about replacing it with the same type window, divided lights. I was on the losing side of the argument. I said we should replace it with the divided light because I thought it changed the whole character of the building. It was not in keeping with what it was there originally. Where I'm going with this is that I think, to the point, I respect the opinion about this being residential. But I would also agree with Chairman Straker that it is inconsistent within the small charm of the building, and it's been there for a while. I wouldn't call it historic. I don't think Bob would either.
No,
Bob probably came up with something and said, hey, I can throw these doors in there, right?
yeah, pretty much.
You probably know Bob pretty well. So I would agree with Chairman Straker that I think to be consistent with what there would be important as opposed to making it more business-like. That would be my opinion.
Thanks, Russ. Megan?
Tough one. The nearby buildings on that street, most of them, because I drove by just to kind of check it out, and then I also drove around the other side entrance of Glitz to see what that door looked like, which that's like an orange door.
Yep.
Anyway, I was just kind of trying to get a feel for the streetscape. There are a lot of fiberglass, or not fiberglass, what, aluminum storefront black doors.
And we just approved one a couple doors down.
Mhm.
So I don't think it would be out of, it wouldn't look out of place if you did a black aluminum door. I wouldn't, like, to your point, I don't like the wood looking aluminum door. So I would think it would have to be black. I know we can't weigh in on color, but that seems like that's what everybody else has done. I also wonder about the functionality of having a double door like that is wood. Cause I also looked at the other doors. There aren't a lot of double entrance doors that are wood. Is that correct?
There's
Probably.
not. Now I'm looking at.
I
front of
think
my-
some single.
There are.
So
Yeah.
I imagine that the functionality of a double wood door in our climate is probably more prone to warping. It would have to have different, I just wonder how functional that is for people to come in and out frequently.
So the reason, so they've got 68 stores. And the one reason I like the double, we don't have a double on any other store they've got. This is the highest traffic flow they have, so they just put counters in this past summer in all their stores. How many people you think go through that door in a month? It's almost 70,000.
Wow.
Wow.
Yep. Our low month was in December, And I think I sent you the numbers. I don't have them offhand here, but the low month was like 12,000. But in the peak of the summer, we're hitting 70,000 people through there. So that's one reason Jeff likes the double doors, because he keeps them open all summer. And the traffic flow for people getting ingress and egress going out, it's safer if there wasn't, something that went on. But again, I mean, if you'd prefer to have a single door, then we can look at doing.
No, I don't prefer a single door. I was thinking of materiality
Okay,
and, I know that would probably need a multi-point lock being a double door if it's wood. So I was just thinking of some of the,
I guess
for
one of-
me, it's a toss up. I
think
think-
to John's, I mean, I get what you're saying.
But we also just approved Phil's beautiful mahogany wood door.
Correct.
That's I could go that way, but it doesn't have to, I don't think the divided light with those big picture windows.
Well, my point is,
Vice versa.
I think the retail doors make sense for all the reasons you're saying. But the reality is this structure has residential looking doors that are divided light that are wood and have existed since the 70s or 80s. So that solution of the wood doors replicates what's already there and doesn't make it more non-contributing. When you start to unwind, this isn't a pure retail facade. You could agree or disagree that it's charming the way it is. I think sort of it's earned some charm. And I think retail doors unwind the charm more for me. Definitely the fake wood aluminum
Yeah.
Unwinds the charm. But
Do we have another picture that's further back?
I don't know.
I know, it would be nice to see that whole.
I drove by and I just did not look at the whole thing, unfortunately. I had somebody behind me, but.
So the way it's set up, these are just huge pieces of single glass coming over, and this comes over, and then you have the two abutting buildings on both sides. Just for clarification for me, like the one we submitted, the glass came down farther.
Yes,
Do you prefer to see it halfway?
I think I like it, the one you submitted down farther, and that's like what we approved for Phil's. It invites people in. The divided light is really throwing me. I get it that this has earned a certain degree of charm, but it really isn't. I mean, those are really weird doors. I don't know. The X is more barn-like. The crisscross is more French. It's not like anything that,
but it's there.
yeah.
The
Simplicity's
the
a
upper
good
lights
too.
were actually lights that Bob had in his warehouse
I wouldn't be
years
surprised.
ago.
Uh,
Oh, the lights on the side?
Yeah. and
Yeah.
The coach lights?
This was the door.
Yeah.
This was just flat glass, plain glass.
Yeah.
He had these.
He had those made.
No, they're in stores. They
Huh.
fit.
Oh.
So you gotta put them in.
So back to Phil's, in my mind, the reason why Phil's decision was made is because it was like for like.
Yeah.
And this one, despite all the discussion about how these arrived, it's where they are, it's part of the building. And I would, to Chairman Straker's point, not unwind this and, make it usable, make it maintenance, less maintenance for, and, so they're working effectively and solving some of the problems that you have, but appearance wise would be similar to what you currently have. The other question I have about the application is it does say, and this is not within our purview, but it does, you said that the doors would swing into the store so as to not affect traffic flow. What does the code say about, I'm sure the fire code is probably specific about doors, isn't it? And whether they should,
Code wise, this should go out.
yeah, that's what
I
I
think when I
thought.
talked to,
So the existing doors obviously swing inwards. I wouldn't know fire code. That would, be the fire department. But my thought would be that obviously we've got quite tight sidewalks and it would encroach on the right of way, especially if we're leaving them open, as they said they would do all summer. So my suggestion was that they continue to swing inwards. But I can double check with the fire department to make sure we're up to code on that.
Do that.
Yep.
Not to not
No,
to
yeah.
slow this down, but I would
Cool.
hate to put the property owner in a position of, hey, replacing the doors and all of a sudden someone, hey, why, you need to be compliant with law that they,
That shouldn't slow us down. I can have a conversation with those guys.
in this group
Yeah.
purview, but
Absolutely.
just, I noticed that. Thank you.
Yep. All right.
I wonder if this would look good if it was a wood door, but aluminum clad exterior, more like the painted one that's currently there, you know? Like a Pella.
So for like a full light,
Well, you could do the SDL, but it would be, it's like a wood window that has the aluminum cladding on the outside that's more like cream color that's there currently.
I found a picture on Google Earth. I forgot that it was so low. I thought there was something above. Brandis is next door. All those brick buildings have the aluminum, big windows, big doors. So that would be, this would be consistent with them. It's kind of a little bit of its own thing right now.
does the pattern of divided light change it for you? Either one of you guys?
Brandis has an old wood door on his and it's all glass, as I recall. And I think
Yeah.
that is more in keeping. So I wouldn't mind a wood door, a wood look, as long as it doesn't have the divided light. I just think that's what's weird. And not in keeping with what's right around it.
So if it was the wood door as proposed in fiberglass, but without the divided light. Does that get us to not going all the way to retail land? Keeping it
Yeah.
a little bit in traditional land? I think from what your photo just did for me is that white really pops out.
I think it looks a little like a monstrosity.
It
kind of
does.
next
It
to
really does.
Nice.
I think.
So like the mahogany color of this wood door is better.
Just Google.
And the dark retail door is better.
I just did clicks in Google, like hold up their listing and they went to
Let's
Google
see.
Maps for you. Just do Glitz.
I could be fine without the divided light. But I'd still rather see the wood door.
And it comes
myself.
up, on there. Like this thing, the Google review thing. I just clicked on that piece right there, see outside, the far right, see outside. Yeah. And then you have to get it in focus because it gets too blurry. You know, it's better on your screen than mine. You
Mhm.
have to go over to, you can arrow over though.
Yeah, so you can see Brandis's door.
There you go. Yeah, Brandis is,
Wood.
but a lot of the other ones aren't wood, they're
No,
aluminum,
they're-
but it's the same idea, just glass.
That, yeah, it just really looks like that.
Yeah, I think that's just weird looking. I don't like it. I mean, I think it's a white elephant already. I think we're doing it,
Unintended.
yeah.
It's a white elephant.
So I'm hearing aluminum and wood. So
Well,
are you
we
thinking-
will land the plane.
Go land.
And we'll put it in a motion.
I still like the uniqueness of the divided lights. That was a decision made by someone years ago, and for whatever reason Bob did that, but I just like the uniqueness of it. And I imagine that the door that's on the Brandis studio, which is the original post office, was probably the original post office door.
It's old, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably the original wood door. I don't remember that ever having so.
But all the others are, believe left and right are aluminum black storefront doors.
Yeah.
Sorry, I mean.
I mean, that's just the observation I've had when I've gone by. This building's different than those older buildings.
Which is why I was gonna say, I just don't think that matters.
Yeah.
So what you're effectively saying is, we're okay if every door on the street gets replaced as an aluminum retail storefront window.
No, but I just said I agreed with the wood, with the glass, 3/4 glass down, just no divided light.
No, I'm only saying, I just don't think we should be looking necessarily to other properties, because they've all had their stories of
Mhm.
repair and replacement.
And it sounds like you mentioned that the divided light that is there was added after the fact, just as,
It was.
okay,
It
so
would
that,
have
that
a
isn't,
bigger pattern on it, like John had said, you've got the X's on the bottom. You wouldn't put X's with the diamonds on the top. They were literally.
Oh, that was the
That
intention?
was like a,
Worse.
not so
Yeah,
I don't think we need to take.
Mhm.
Okay.
Where are we gonna end this on a motion? I mean, we will likely end up with commissioners agreeing or disagreeing with where we land, which is the way it goes, but,
well, do we need to discuss more? Does everyone have all the information they need?
Again, I would just make the comment I made about the building that's right next to the, just north of Brandis's building for the two windows. Again, the argument back then even was the same as we're having now, is they wanted to put in a window with no divided lights, which they ended up getting. And the argument that I made was that's not consistent with what was there. Who knows who made the decision about the divided lights on, and next time you go by, look at it, you'll see one and the other. So I'm trying to remain consistent with where I was before too, in terms of the streetscape here, and the divided light to me, even if it may, to some of the reasons I can respect what's being said, I think it should stay with divided light the way it is. Just because that's it. That's part of the.
I'm kind of there too, just for the simple reason of it's there now, and that's old. And a retail storefront window would make those big plate, there would be nothing of interest on the front of this building. It would just be a generic storefront. And like, I don't disagree with what you guys are saying of like residentiality and like, maybe it doesn't feel quite right, but it doesn't feel quite right now. So we're making it better, not quite right.
Well-
But still maintaining the character.
But the door that they're proposing that's shown in fiberglass is 3/4 light glass. Can you go to that screen, Sarah? Just so because when we make the motion, whoever makes the motion is going, no, the one,
The dark brown.
the dark brown one,
Armature door
the thermostat
Page
door,
up
33,
higher.
33.
There you go.
that one. Can you turn? Can you turn it?
There you go.
What I'm hearing everyone say is they would agree with, everyone would want all wood, real wood. The question then becomes, and leaving the transom, and the question is the divided light versus non-divided light.
Or what the divided light is too. Like,
Yeah.
so if you go to a half divided light door, would you do a 4-panel? Would you do no divided light? Would you do,
That's what I'm saying, is the
Yeah.
question becomes, what is the divided light? The glass size is right, I think. It lets people see in the store. The other one's very residential. It's very like Dutch door looking, half and half like that. This is the right configuration in wood, stained, and I would do no divided light. And I still think you get that charm. You get the coach lanterns next to it. Everything goes together with a stained wood door. And it's much more in keeping with downtown in a business setting. There's no other divided light on this building.
so you're saying as shown?
As shown in
no
wood
divided-
without the divided light. Is what I would.
I think that, I mean, I can go with that. That keeps the charm.
Can I ask one more?
Yeah.
Do you, this panel on the bottom, that's a raised panel look? Would you prefer that to be flat, look different? I mean, if we're gonna have to build the door anyway, so. If we're gonna do it, I guess I'd rather have,
Well, whatever, yeah, I mean, right now, if we land on this, basically what you're showing, but in wood, no divided light, it would be with that panel, because that's what you're showing us.
okay.
And
Well, I
that's
mean,
fine.
I'm
That's
giving
what,
You guys the option if you'd rather.
Well,
that's a
It
personal
it makes
preference.
sense, I think,
Raised
with the
panel is
brick.
nice, yeah.
Yeah, with the brick and everything and that's the oldest of the panel options. That's the most traditional.
That might get us to the most common place in what we're all trying to accomplish with keeping a nod to what's currently there while bringing it forward. Anyone like to make a motion
I will.
or more discussion? I don't want to
Try.
cut it off. Go ahead.
Make a motion to approve the new front entry replacement doors at 234 Butler Street in accordance with the plans, details submitted with the application materials. Approval shall be subject to the following conditions. One, real wood. Like the fiberglass door shown, 3/4 glass with a raised panel, 1/4 bottom. No simulated divided light.
Okay, do you have a second?
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes, opposed?
No,
Thank you. You're set.
Thank you.
just for the divided light, that's the reason for my no.
Yeah.
One quick question. I heard you guys, a little thought, would you prefer to have it stained versus painted?
That's up to you.
It's up to you.
I know, but if you've
I heard a
got.
very
I
resounding
said,
yes.
as motion, I said as shown,
Okay.
which is a stained look,
All right.
which I think is really
I just
fitting.
want to make sure I'm hearing it right. Murray.
Yeah, no,
Thank
thank you very much.
Yeah, appreciate you being
Patience,
here.
Thanks for
letting
working
us
with
Talk
us.
through it.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, our last item for new business is 340 Water Street, an exterior remodel of the dockside shops. And it looks like applicants on phone. Hello, Chad.
Good evening.
Hello.
Hi,
Thanks,
Chad.
thanks for being here and hearing our application.
Hold on one second, Chad.
Yeah, Chad, I need to recuse myself from this vote because I was hired professionally to assist with some of the, I consulted on this,
Thank you.
so I will not be voting or commenting.
Thanks for that. Chad, sorry, go ahead, introduce yourself and tell us about your project or anything you want us to know that's not already in the application.
Yeah, Chad Van Horn, thanks for being here and hearing us tonight. I'm a member of Boatshed Properties. We've recently acquired the majority of the Dockside Marketplace building down there at 340 and 360 Water Street. And I'm super nervous after seeing the conversation on the Glick's door because we have a significant amount of requests here. But I do think I got good counsel from Mr. Canarsa. So I hope you all like what we're proposing. I do have two comments on what we've turned in. One is, and certainly I'm happy to add or address any questions you have for what we have turned in, but one relates to the artificial turf. We love the idea of some green space on the backside, but after submitting, we started getting super concerned about things like spills, et cetera, and the ability to keep that clean and nice and tidy. And I think we'd prefer to set aside the artificial turf consideration for this purpose or for this meeting. And we envision, I think, putting a good amount of potted plants and maybe small trees around the area to get the green space instead of the artificial turf. The only other comment I have is we're still looking at the Clopay Avant overhead door, same specs as we have asked for as far as color and full glass. Only difference is it would be a 4-panel wide glass in the traditional Clopay Avante. And I could certainly bring up an image of that or a spec of that and share it on the screen here if you'd like. Other than that, I think the application speaks for itself, and I'm happy to, like I said, answer any questions. We think it's a pretty tired property that's kind of morphed into a lot of things over time. I guess our opinion of it is it was historically kind of a industrial property dating back to the 1800s and kind of morphed into this fisherman village shanty kind of a look on the water side over the years. And I guess our opinion is nothing's real cohesive, and we think we can improve it significantly. And frankly, even though it's not a contributing building, we think it can add charm and benefit to the downtown streetscape and waterscape. And our goal really is to bring the outside in with the things that we've proposed.
Thanks, Chad. Do you want to start?
Yeah. Hi, Chad, Keith Patterson here. Couple questions just for clarification. The river rock or the cobbles that surround it along the lower, interface, is that the brick that's being proposed, is that a veneer? Or is it a full-size brick?
Yeah, thanks for that. That is a thin brick.
So it's a thin brick? Okay.
Yep, thin brick, yep.
Um,
And the contractor we're working with on that is Potts Masonry.
Okay. And I thought I had another one. Who will come to me? No, that's all I had for now. I probably, no, that's it. All I got.
Russ?
Yeah, thanks. So this building was originally boat sheds and it had doors that opened, like sideway doors like this, and they had racks that the boats could be pulled up into it. As a matter of fact, there was even at one time a wet t-shirt contest used to be held in there. So the building has had quite a history, but boat sheds is what it was originally used for. So I appreciate the effort, looking at the elevation on page 47 to 55, that even though it's not the swinging doors that it used to have, it is in now more keeping with what the building originally was intended for, right? More of a in and out kind of a use. So the elevation on page 47, that's the water side, is that correct? That's the water side. And then the other side, which, the street side, that's other than the painting and some of the other updates, there's not gonna be any changes to the doors or any other entrances or so forth. Is that correct?
Those comments are correct.
No, okay. So on the east elevation then, can help me better understand what the proposed modifications, exterior modifications are going to be on the street side?
Yeah, so on the street side, it's really limited to, so some of that vinyl on the canopies is in poor repair. So we'd like to change that to a black fabric, which would be more cohesive with our color pattern that we're going for here. And then we would paint any of those, I don't know what they're called, the overhanging lights, the ornamental lights. We'd paint those black as well. And then the brick, replacing the cobble. I think those are the improvements on the east side of the water, or the street side.
Okay. Thank you,
The
Mr.
same
Van.
the same would be true for the north and south.
So, so my question is, I think been answered, is that what's on the screen currently, other than the changes you suggested, the doors are gonna remain the same, the windows are gonna remain the same, there's not gonna be any garage type doors on that side of the building, correct? It's just gonna be on the water side.
That is correct.
Okay.
Megan? Thanks, Russ.
I had similar questions to Russ. But I appreciate you asking that. I don't really have I don't have anything.
Okay. Chad, I'm looking at page 47, on the very far left, that full light door, that's not a garage door, is that? Oh, I'm seeing more on there. I had to scroll over. So is the black door, is that the bathrooms for the marina?
It is. Yeah, that's correct. That's an existing door. Unfortunately, we don't control that door, or what happens with it.
So that'll just be painted black? Or you don't control it?
Yeah, we don't control it, so I guess that is white currently. I do believe we've got a good relationship with that owner. They've not been privy to our proposed improvements, but I do believe that they'll be excited about them from the conversations that we've had. And I think they'll be motivated to want to keep things as cohesive as possible as well.
Well, that's kind of important for your whole project. So if the door is an issue, then siding on that owner's outside is also an issue, right? Because what if that owner says, I want to leave
So, yeah,
my
so-
little monopoly house,
Sorry,
exactly as is?
I stand corrected. Yes, I would propose that that door is black, and we have the vote that will carry the exterior color for the association.
Because this is like all condoized, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're-
and that's the one that's differently owned.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, yeah.
And
Which-
while we're,
Go ahead.
While
They're
we're-
actually not an owner. It's just it's a common element. It's an interesting, this is a pretty bizarre scenario. So I apologize for being wishy-washy and thinking on the fly here. But that restroom space for the marina is a limited common element for the marina's benefit. But we would have the controlling vote on the aesthetic and decor, colors, et cetera, of the structure.
Okay, that's really important for continuity because obviously, I mean,
Agreed.
and you wouldn't want to do that either. You wouldn't want to leave that little part undone if somebody disagrees. So we would make
Agreed.
that part of the motion. Were you going to say
I think
something?
that's fine.
yeah, so a question on the elevation that we're seeing. So the overhang that is there is not being changed. It's just the doors it's going to be changed to the garage, I'm calling garage doors.
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay, so people will still be, guests will still be sitting underneath there and just kind of like it is, right? It's not going to be extended. In other words, the seating area is not extended out.
Footprint doesn't change in the, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I feel like you're really like harmonizing everything. There is a lot going on in this building. And it's two different personalities on two different elevations. And it is currently sort of ye old fisherman's village, which isn't real. So my opinion, I think it's really successful to harmonize, especially that area under where Mermaid was, under the eave, where you're just taking out things that got added over the years, like stained glass and the French doors. And I think everyone can visualize it, but to me, 47 is a little misleading if anyone sees this, because those white openings on the rendering aren't really white. When you see them in reality, they're dark. Like glass is a void, not white. So this is a little more jarring. I think it'll actually be really even when you see it. So I think it's really successful. One question on the street side. So I get the brick. I get no windows other than what you're showing on the riverside. Windows or doors aren't changing other than what you show on the riverside. Are you recovering those awnings in black, or are you putting a different type of awning over those doors?
Yeah, thanks for the positive comments. And the answer to your question is recovering them.
Okay. And then is there any sort of, are you doing anything to put around those electrical panels or anything between the two awnings in the middle of the building? Is there any shroud or anything happening there? Are you leaving that, painting it out, anything?
Yeah, great question. I do think we hope to do more improvements to the street side at some point. And certainly that's top of mind for us, that electrical panel cluster. There are a couple of windows that don't match. Some have, divided lights, some don't, et cetera. But we're not, given the season coming upon us quickly and what we're trying to accomplish, I guess all we're wanting to ask for at this point is what we've proposed here. We certainly have some improvements top of mind on that side, but we're not prepared to request approvals or make them yet at this point.
Okay, that's fair. If you do make any changes, you would come back.
Most
Yeah.
certainly.
I'll just add as well, because of the location the district is in and also the use of the property. Any large changes would have to also go before the planning commission. In this case, I actually am going to speak with the chair tomorrow to make sure he's comfortable. But because there's no change to the actual footprint of the structure, I think we both feel that it would be a minor site plan amendment, because this one, there's no real change, expansion or anything like that. The biggest change is obviously the garage doors at the back. But with regards to any future expansions or anything like that, planning commission will most likely be involved. After you guys, of course.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just more of a question around looking at the survey on page 51 to 55, and this is just more a general question about the building itself. It shows 12 units. Are there 12 different owners? And is I'm trying to understand, Mr. Van Horn, you representing the association? Are you representing a majority of the units? Just kind of questioning.
Yeah, majority of the
Point
units.
that was
we
made by
own-
Chairman Straker about the one unit, unit 6, I guess that would be right, unit 6.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the question was on unit 6.
No, I'm just saying what I'm trying to understand is, do you represent the association? Do you represent 6 of the 12 units? Do you represent 4 of the 12? I'm just trying to understand the
Yeah, thanks for that.
relation.
I represent 11 of the 12 units.
Okay, that's my question. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I don't think it's unit 6. I think it's actually just the restroom.
Oh, is it? Okay,
And-
sorry.
And
Okay, 'cause
the
I was associated
restroom,
with
the
unit 6.
restroom
Yeah,
and the
we-
marina. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Okay.
actually control unit 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one last question, Chad, I can't believe I'm even going to ask this. Down by unit 6, there's a mural on the side of the building. This is a non-contributing structure. That's wood on the side of the building. It's not masonry. Are you siding over that mural? Are you re-siding or taking it down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Quite frankly, that's not something that we've given much thought to yet.
Okay. Because it's not,
I'd love to hear the opinion of that y'all have in that regard.
I bring it up because I think if you take it down or go over it, somebody is going to make a comment. But I don't believe that is in our purview. It's a painted on piece of art. It's a non-contributing building. It's not masonry. So in previous discussions, it's been a contributing historic building with masonry, which is clear in our guidelines that we do not allow that. This is something that could be repainted on whatever surface you put back on. So I'm just more stating it for the record as I ask the question. It's a question statement, I suppose.
Yeah, and that I believe that's just painted on the exterior siding. That's like everything. So I don't think that I don't think we're married to it, or I don't know that we have an opinion on it. Quite frankly, we really haven't addressed that at this point.
My guess is others will have an opinion on it for you, but I think it is your choice. It's not the under the purview of the commission.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. And if I could, I'd love to circle back to those the street side facade there, the streetscape, that utility cluster. If you felt so inclined to add an approval for us to paint that cluster to match the building, we would certainly do what we could to try to do a paint match on that and at least try to get that to go away and be less prominent.
We don't have any jurisdiction on that, Chad. You can paint them if you want.
Okay.
Paint is something like the color, if you had wanted to paint the whole building yellow, it can be redone by someone. So and it's a non-contributing structure. So I think you're fine to do with that. Now, if you wanted to put a shroud of some sort around it, that's where the materiality would come into play of what we would approve.
Got it. Thank you.
But I mean, I think the whole thing is really cleaned up, the fence around it. It's sort of honest to a warehouse now versus a bunch of different things. So
Thank you.
would anyone like to make a motion or any more discussion?
I'll do the motion.
Okay.
All right. I move to approve a comprehensive exterior renovation project at 340/360 Water Street, including painting of the entire structure, replacement of accent materials, replacement of 3 service doors, replacement of railings with a cable rail system, and a rear renovation project to include overhead doors for 5 front facing units in accordance with the plans and details submitted within the application materials. And do I hear any conditions?
But,
I didn't hear any
if
conditions.
we took out the AstroTurf.
I-
He didn't read it, but he took it out.
Okay, but was it on this plan?
Yes.
Okay, so to, what do we want to say?
Just,
Leave concrete as is.
Yeah.
No carpet.
Second.
second, okay, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes. Yes, opposed? Thank you very much. Just a reminder, Chad, if anything changes, just come back to Luke at the city and for an administrative approval, or if there's something major that needs to come back to us.
Super. Thanks so
For
much.
the changes. Thank you.
I'll add as well that I'll be in contact with all of the applicants in regards to next steps. So yeah, that'll be tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay. I appreciate your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any administrative approvals or updates?
None. I did receive the sign application from Lisa. I haven't approved it yet, but yeah, once I do that, will be included in the packet. So assumably the next meeting.
Okay, so for everyone's knowledge, CVB asked to change out the sign on the side of the hardware store, which is old, keeping everything the same, attached to the building, just new art.
The hardware
So-
or the drugstore?
Did I say
Drugstore.
hardware?
Yeah.
I meant drugstore, sorry.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, any communication? Any more public comments? Any commission comments?
One question. I went through all the strategic planning work that was done. And and then they were also talking about the stuff that's gonna go tactical this year. And one of the ones that I flagged was bike rack new locations. Like I think there was 3 being proposed,
Yes.
one by the ferry, one down by the pizza joint.
And one at the
stuff like
corner of
this.
Butler and Mason.
Yeah, so I suspect that's gonna come in here for approval, correct? Before they're set?
Yeah, if they're within the historic district.
Because the one place that's been proposed is, completely gonna have to be demoed. And I think we have the responsibility to see what the bike racks look like and how they are in situ, so.
Yeah,
Correct?
absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, the council discussed those yesterday.
Mhm.
And if I recall correctly, if I've got my descriptions correctly, 2 of them would be the standard bike rack you see where you put your front tire in. There would then be a wave one, which would be put in at the corner of Butler and Mason. So I'm a cyclist, so I'm more bike racks the better. I did have an issue with the one at Butler and Mason particularly because I thought, and I think it's going to create it's going to create more congestion in a very congested area.
But we'll see that in here before we
yeah.
have a
Yeah.
discussion, correct? Okay,
Absolutely.
good.
And then, but
Yeah, one other comment. I'm gonna take out my Historic District Commission hat and for Mr. Van Horn's benefit, that mural has actually been used by our city administration to just kind of promote Saugatuck. I know the CVB uses it. It's a very attractive Instagram spot. I would suggest as a citizen that you think twice about painting or obscuring that. It's really become a thing for a lot of people. So I just would say that. Think twice.
right.
I would miss it. If it wasn't there, I would miss it. So,
I sent around, you guys may not have seen it because I forgot to send it. I sent around what we discussed in our last meeting, which was just an idea as a 2024 year-end review. If you have any feedback, just get back to me directly on that. I've been working with Luke and Sarah on some of the details inside, so you'll see a lot of blank data until we put some more data in there, but I think that's generally what we were thinking about. And if I don't hear anything, I'll work with these guys to put the data in, and then we'll send that off to the paper and get a little, maybe get a little shout out. Perfect. Okay. Anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All right, we are adjourned. Thanks, everyone. It wasn't too bad for 4.
So did I sound threatening on that, Keith?
Just a little.
I don't know.
Well, I-